For news, I did have a couple things here.
All right.
Let's see here. They've going to the news channel. XPAD is now going to be included eventually into the Linux kernel. Microsoft's apparently promised that if you are part of their patent cabal, you won't get sued.
Nice.
And then also CentOS 8 is supposed to be released on September the 24th. Apparently, the reason why they haven't released yet is they pumped the brakes and went and worked on 7.7 since they figured more people had CentOS 7 installed than CentOS 8.
A few more.
Yeah, by definition. But yeah, those were the two news pieces I had. I guess if you've made it here, you realize it is the lug. We have a website, and it's even showing events on the right times now currently.
So luckily, I found my way here via the website, so.
That's proof it works then.
I was gonna say, I know you guys move around, so it's been a while since I've been.
Well, we move around less than we have in the past, but more than we probably ought.
And the website's fixed now, right?
Yes. Except for apparently if people have blogs, there's somehow we're supposed to link them together.
We'll just remove the tag that says that.
Well, yeah, that would work too, but that's so much less work. So yeah, anyway, website, there's the IRC channel, Slack, email. Yeah, talk to us. We answer sometimes. Apparently a Twitter channel, I think.
I joined the IRC. I have it on there with a virtual machine just logged in, but sometimes the virtual machine crashes and I don't realize what's going on until weeks later.
So there is a workaround for that because I did have that same pain point. If you want to join the dark side of Slack, it actually will cross-post between them.
You have a spare 2 cores on your machine.
Yeah.
Slack on it.
Well, you don't have to have it running all the time.
But who doesn't know when their VM crashes? You don't have status monitoring?
Not on that one.
So if a VM dies in the wilderness,
Nobody can hear it.
I know when something goes down to mine because I'm either using it or something tells me.
Usually ends up being like power failure and I just forget to turn it back on.
Which is really useful actually if you have status monitoring that watches your internet. Because then you can provide data to the ISP and you get bumped to tier 2 just a little bit faster.
speaking of that, I did notice that Clink was down in Polk City again. Or my stuff's all crashed. I'm not sure which. But I'm going to lean on the CenturyLink crapped out.
That would never happen.
Updated. I saw that I had an old password.
Do you have GPON at home?
Thank you.
No. It's still the DSL. In order to get them to run a hunk of fiber to my house was going to be extremely cost prohibitive.
You should still kind of ping them every
Even though it's in your yard.
3 to 6 months because somebody might be crazy enough to actually do something that's cheaper.
Yeah,
Slice it.
yeah. I complain every couple months, and
No news yet.
I'm obviously not complaining in the right way. But anyway, though, so yeah, Lug. Thank you to Right Stuff, Ken, for presenting and hosting. If you have ideas of what we should host or feel that you want to present so you don't have to listen to me, a little bit later would be a good time to speak up. Otherwise, you'll get something random next month.
It's all right.
But so the topic of the day is iOS, Motion
Motion
iOS.
iOS, which runs on a lot of different platforms, not just Raspberry Pis, but that's what I got. So that's where we're at.
Is it 1i or 2i, or is it?
There's one I.
It'll be like a Cyclops.
From like the new Apple phone, it's a tripod.
Exactly. Well, they call it Triceratops, don't they?
Well, what I
Oh, no,
thought,
that's only if you're horny, never mind.
So this is the main page for the project. He's hosting on GitHub, of course. He goes through and explains what it is and how to get started. The key feature here is that it does use Motion, which is a pretty well-established project for doing motion sensing, detection and recording. Motion actually has a lot of features, and what's cool about Motion iOS is that he pretty much gives you a web interface to almost all the controls that Motion iOS has in its config file. So you'll see that later. It's very configurable. And it's based on Buildroot, not on Raspbian. So he's building a custom distro, primarily because what I've discovered in the past is Raspbian does not support the Raspberry Pi camera module for Motion. Motion won't detect the Raspberry Pi camera module, so you have to do some custom kernel.
Yeah, there's a specific driver just for
Yeah,
it.
there's some specific things you gotta do. He takes care of it. You don't have to worry about it. This is just go.
Generally, Motion used to be MJPEG based. Is it H.264 now? Because it's getting it directly from the hardware, and
I don't really know what the back.
I guess
As
it's
far as
it's
the
hardware
internal
and it's
part
got
goes.
incoming, but when it goes
Yeah.
to save it,
I mean, this is super like user friendly. It doesn't really expose much of that to you.
I use Motion for everyone.
Yeah.
So H.264 was becoming a thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't great then, so.
So basically, it's a custom distro to turn Raspberry Pis into miniature camera servers. But it's got some cool features on top of that. And it also supports other devices. Let's go here. There are a lot of single board computers that it actually supports. So I've not even heard of some of these. One is on the Odroids. One's on the Pine. It's on most of the Raspberries. And you'll notice that Raspberry Pi 4 is not listed currently. That's because you've got to go to the nightly builds.
It
To
works,
get
it's just
Pi
not
4.
supported yet.
Yeah, he doesn't have it in the production releases, but
That's all right.
he's doing nightly builds, and he does have Pi 4 support, which
I would
It's all
assume
right.
some people are relying on this, so maybe that's not a bad idea.
So, installation, pretty easy. Let's see, let's go over where to get the images first. So, next one here is, okay. So this is the slide that actually has, or the site. So, Motion iOS /releases from the GitHub page takes you to the nightly builds. So you'll see it has the pre-release status here, pre-release, pre-release, pre-release. You gotta go back to that one to get to the production release. So he actually added Pi 4 support. To that one, yes, which is the very latest one, which is the one I have.
Ooh, so a week ago.
Yeah. So this talk almost didn't happen. Because that's the Pi I got.
It's always nice when there's a pleasant little surprise like that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna set up the Pi 4 first. I've got a Pi 4, and I've got a Pi 0. I've got SD cards that have been blanked, and I've already downloaded the images. So literally, trying to make these bigger. So Raspberry Pi is the one that you use for the 0. It also works for the Pi 1 because they're basically the same. And then he has a Pi 2 and a Pi 3 and a Pi 4 image that you can all download from the site. I grabbed those two. And then this is what you use to get wireless running on first boot. So there's a specific place where you have to put a WPA supplicant config file on the SD card before first boot, and then it'll boot and connect to that wireless network. So you got to kind of tell it about that prior. And you can actually update it later too, but it's just a lot easier to do it before you boot the first time. So, get this guy in here. Four. Not that it matters much, but I like to put the stylus there. Oh, wait, I gotta see that. Or-
You can always fix it later. Denied.
This is why I didn't correct you.
Just don't, make sure to not flip your if and of.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are always fun. That's,
Yeah.
Or if you're modifying the firmware on something, make sure you make a backup first. So you don't have to buy a new one on Amazon and then steal that firmware.
act like it's never happened to you.
Say that seems oddly specific.
It's almost like it's before.
I don't test often, but when I do, it's in prod.
Yep.
Hey,
I don't
everyone,
delete often, but it's also in proc.
everyone has a test environment. Some people are also lucky enough to have a production environment. No, I thought that was one of my favorites.
Everybody should have a test environment.
Everyone does have a test environment.
Everybody.
It's always with credentials stored and IRC and pound hack.
And then you wait for it to there. All right, I think it's P2 you want.
So we're starting like from the beginning.
Okay, so,
I like it.
well, this is where you have to upload your WPSI.
No,
So if you go to ETC,
I'm
there's
curious.
a WPA supplicant right there already.
Yeah, could you, if you wanted to, could you have just mounted the IMG and added the WPA supplicant there and then just left it so that whenever you image something, it's already built in?
You could if you were
Does
gonna do multiple, yeah. If you
Okay,
wanted to do-
I wasn't sure if the loopback mounting would let you
If
do
you were
that.
cookie cuttering these out and wanted to do a whole bunch of them, yeah, that would
Seems
make more
like the
sense.
use case a couple times, demo scenario.
So. I did that.
So is that like the second partition?
Yeah, it was on the second.
Okay, cool.
I think the first one in Raspberry Pis is usually the boot one.
Yeah,
Boot
Yeah.
config stuff.
the one that's visible to Windows and stuff, so you can edit like the,
Yep, sure. I need to see that.
I would assume using that same method though, you could change things like branding. If you were to be dumping thousands of them.
Okay,
of them
so here is my super secret access point that's running off my phone right now.
Is that Sisyphus?
No.
No.
This is something else.
look right there, that's what it is.
I was joking because I saw a wireless access point called Sisyphus. It's like, oh, such what a Greek tragedy that would be.
Better than syphilis.
Much better.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
don't
that
connect to
depends.
that. Some
Yeah,
people-
sure, yeah, treating syphilis, debatable.
Sisyphus is a rather permanent form of purgatory, is what it is.
Okay. That's pretty much all the modification you need to make this boot to that wireless network. Out of the
Yay!
box. So,
Is this the part where we start sending deals?
yeah. Get this thing in here. In the dark.
Got a flashlight.
I do too.
Anybody with a smartphone with a flashlight?
And then boot it up. And we'll hope that it shows up here. Because if it doesn't, then the demo gods are definitely
that
down
does.
the box.
I mean, I've actually
The sacrifices were worthless.
What a black crack on your lens.
Usually.
You know what that's from. Have you had too much caffeine? Are you a bit wired?
No, I just.
The magic eight
That's the
ball of
pun.
demo gods.
Wired.
Shake it up.
Yeah.
More virgins. Didn't get enough.
What type of file system is that? Do you know offhand?
DXT4, I think, is
I think it's what I did.
what it normally uses.
See, I never paid attention to much of this, but I could learn a lot about
While I'm
just
waiting for
Raspberry
that
Pi
to
from
boot
this.
up,
I've been
Yes,
messing
you
around
can.
with Pies for a while for radio stuff.
Because
Tab 32.
we use Raspberry Pis a lot at work, but I mean, what we did, I cheated. We just set up a Pi exactly like we wanted it, and then just imaged the entire SD card.
Right.
Or no, I actually shrunk the partition first, so it wouldn't take as long. So I used Gparted on the thing, and then
Each time I set one up, it's all custom for the use case for the specific thing. So
but watching this, it got me thinking, like, you could probably just loop back it and do what you wanted there and save some of the hassle.
You do miss the validation that it actually works before you start imaging a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, but I mean, you test your first one and you're good to go.
I would say that another issue there is if you
Or just
have
boot
something
up an
that's
ARM
default, you
emulator.
can change it how you need for each time. If you have something that you have to change back from other settings, or if you don't remember what you changed, and then there's something that's not default that you expected it to be.
Well, that's where you start scripting the mount, the change, and the unmount. And it just modifies the image every time.
and that's the Motion iOS
Ooh,
interface.
fancy.
Ooh,
Running off of this
CSS.
Yes, and the default admin
Root.
password
Oh.
is admin with no password. And it says you have not configured the account yet. Click here to add one. That's because I forgot to plug this in before I started. And I'm curious.
Not that one.
I'm gonna really
That
tempt
was a big screw.
the demo god face here
You got to use your max.
and see if it'll actually pick it up.
LSUSB.
So
Oh,
for Raspberry Pi 1, maybe not, with Sims power regulations, so you plugged in anything after it was already good. It's like, ooh, power surge. Something you just cut out.
is that a surge or is it a dip?
I think one followed by the other.
Pushing's either DOA or BRICK.
My guess is I'll agree with it.
Well, it's a Pi Zero. It's certainly not a brick.
Really reboot? Yeah.
So you can make it into a brick with the right DD command.
No, you could make it into a bookmark.
I think
But
technically
yeah,
you can
you'll
still
have to look at
serial
your
into them.
DHCP server to get
for
that
repairing
IP
them.
address.
Oh, really?
I think so, they do have a
Necessarily
serial.
know it, right?
Okay. I'm not gonna say
And
they
could you
don't.
break it with the right DD command though? Because the BIOS block generally isn't readable or writable as a disk. Usually it's special other commands that you would use to edit that area. Like you can't update a BIOS from a DD command.
I can't say that I know for certain, but I feel like the Raspberry Pi has low level interface to it,
Right.
more than other things would have.
Oh, okay. But I don't think it's accessible via DD is what I was thinking. Similar to how, yeah, you can update the BIOS in your computer, but you can't do it as a disk.
Probably not. I apologize.
I thought it was Poltergeist.
Nope, that wasn't the problem.
No, it's just totally scrambled. It's not recognizing the camera very well.
Difference between NTSC and PAL maybe?
And this is how Cloudflare,
That is defaults to PAL.
this is how Cloudflare gets its
Actually,
random keys.
You know what that is?
They
right?
moved away from lava lamps and decided to use Motion ILS on their Logitech
Do
webcam
a
instead.
full hardware power off.
It's
Could require a reset.
Ooh, like the kind where we go to the circuit breaker?
Yes.
So I did have at one point a WISP system that was up in like a
This was
ceiling
kind of
like here.
mystery. This one should work.
And the easiest way to reset it was
But I haven't
throw the
actually-
master breaker for the entire building.
Well, at Hope I
Oh,
found out.
that's an interesting remote control.
At Hope I found that, so our outdoor lights,
Yeah, this is-
Usually the
you have
UVC
manual
drivers are
control
like
over them.
yeah, I'm
Kind of.
bulletproof.
I've
I
had
haven't-
really
So
good
the
luck
switch in the
doing that,
basement,
actually,
so there's like a
surprised.
breaker, obviously
that
cut
was
off,
pretty much
that
my
cuts off way
first
more than
setup
just that.
for security
There
camera
is
systems
a
was motion
switch
with
that is
UVC
either
driver cameras
auto
plugged
per light
directly into the computer,
or
just
always
whatever
on.
crap I had laying around.
Lovely.
There's not an off. The off is you go up on the roof and point a flashlight at the light sensor and it turns off. And when we have events that we need to turn the lights off, that's how we do it. We have a guy that goes up on the roof and puts his flashlight on top of the light sensor and leaves it there until we need the lights back on, and then he moves it away.
I know a photographer
What's the guy's
who,
name? Remote?
Pretty much.
I know of a photographer who actually has a bucket on a pole
Yeah, no.
that if he's taking a picture of a barn, he can turn off the yard light by brute force.
Nice.
That would work.
I have been known as a child to use my dual
Doesn't like the
halogen
camera,
spotlight
no.
to turn off street lights.
That was
I
a
mean,
concern.
From what I see here,
It was very amused by it. My mother was not.
Yeah, well, yeah,
So-
it's just not understanding the format.
That's really why I was just like NTSC versus PAL something and those options.
Well, we might fiddle around.
Well, there are parts of the image that are not
So here's
fluctuating.
this
You know how
guy.
that works.
With the little SD
Oh.
card and the camera module
Nice.
Cool.
and the focus knob, because you have to focus the thing. It's already done.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
How is
Yeah, it
that?
sucks. There's like a little set of teeth on the front here that you can
Okay.
rotate,
Okay.
and this plugs
Okay.
in
Like a watch
to the
back would
teeth.
come off. Okay.
and lets you
Gotcha.
rotate the lens to focus it. And
Well,
when
it's
it
a
comes
scanner?
out of the box, it's like blurry, and you're like, "What the hell?"
That's weird.
And then you're
That's
like,
weird. I've definitely seen.
"I now know what this is for."
Going
You
to
gotta
So
the
be
it
able
doesn't
to-
stay on there.
No, it's just a wrench basically to change the focus.
Good to
But once you've
know.
adjusted it, you pretty much don't have to adjust it anymore. But out of the box, it's like messed up.
Now, is it
So it's like,
dependent on your distance?
not really.
Or is it
I mean, it's
dependent
such a
on, like, the
small
individual
focal length
camera
lens
thing?
that once you focus it, it's pretty much
So what,
in focus at
why
all
even
distances.
bother? Like, is it just a manufacturing glitch? Like,
No, they just put the lens on randomly.
Yeah.
By the machine. Are you gonna
Machine.
pay them $20 and it costs to tune it?
well,
The
no, but
time it
no,
takes
I'm
to
not
pay
talking about
someone to
tuning.
You're not
focus
gonna do
that.
I'm not talking
They're
about tuning.
saving
I'm
a lot
talking
of
about
money.
like the Logitech
When they
thing,
can
where it's just the lens is always in the exact same spot.
Oh, but that takes precision manufacturing.
Okay, so
that-
that's what I was asking about, is if it's like, if the glitch in it or like a tolerance issue.
That last
Now, if
machine
I
that
don't
just
crack
goes
the-
to the camera lens, they didn't want to
If I don't
spend the
crack it
extra
in
$1 million
half,
to
I will get it in
get
the
it to go
case.
exactly
Yes.
And the
one
reason it was
degree.
out of the case is because there's no slot to put the SD card in and out.
Oh, no.
So that's why.
I've got a knife, we can
I
fix
guess
that.
that's good and bad, so that's.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
No, actually, he uses a knife with one blade.
Tamper resistant.
How do you
All
know?
right, so I'm gonna get this distracting piece of crap.
Did you get the Damocles version?
I have plenty of versions.
And
Well,
I'll
he's hanging around the sword of Damocles.
This Superstack is a server now, but you could plug a camera into it if you found one that worked. Of course, this might be a malfunctioning camera too, because I did kind of get it up.
Well, if you want me to test it, plug it into mine, see if you got video. I've used this with Logitech before, so if I get video on it, I probably still have the tools installed. Yeah, I have Logitech camera thing installed if you want me to test the camera.
Yeah, if you want to.
That's them.
This one, then.
Tried to launch software first time, it said no camera detected. This time it is saying nothing. Oh, setting up a device, we got video. This camera is functional, NTSC at
Yeah.
60 hertz.
So it's probably setting.
And if I switch it to PAL at 50 hertz, I get hum bars.
Oh, that's nice.
It's just,
Still
yeah.
thinks there's a camera.
It also does widescreen and standard. Let's see what else there is.
Because
There's
it detected a camera and I didn't touch it.
brightness, color intensity, contrast, auto white balance, and whatnot. A little bit of zoom, but yeah, it functions.
Okay.
So you can separate out the client and server roles.
Okay, apparently it passes the Jerry test.
It passes the device is functioning as intended.
Okay, so motion's just not, does not recognize it.
Which is interesting because Logitech is usually the best brand of camera to buy for this stuff.
Remote motion, no.
Well, that's what I got at home for it, for motion.
Oh, I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, I've only ever used Logitech stuff with
Remote
motion.
motion on camera is another one running motion eye, right?
No, I've got motion running on this.
Okay. In that case, it's gonna be in JPEG. Motion usually works as
So you used motion before?
long ago. More than I care to admit. It was very, very stable when you got it all set up, but it uses a ton of space because it's all in JPEG format, and then you have to convert it afterward. Oh my gosh.
You don't have to convert it. You can just do the frame by frame.
When you only own like a 0.5 terabyte drive at that point in time in my life, you have to
There you go.
convert it.
What was it, dumping raw video or something?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just an MJPEG stream that it converts to AVI immediately, and then you have to reconvert it to something else if you want to save more space.
I guess I never had an issue with it, but then again, I was dumping it daily, so.
There
Yeah.
you go. So that's motion running on this,
What kind of resolution?
Whatever the gamer can do.
connecting to this.
So was it?
Is it using, what camera are we using? Are we using the
Like,
built-in
pretty much
webcam?
one of
Yeah,
those.
filter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Red light
So
or green light.
720p at that time.
Ah, now I see the green light. Okay. I did not see the
Fair
green
amount
light
of data, yeah,
previously.
For many
Yes.
hours.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if it's not compressing it.
What's that about recording people? No.
It's not recording, but there is recording capability.
Right.
So.
It's not recording, it's saving a stream of MPEGs
Yeah.
or JPEGs.
Hey.
That frame rate though.
That frame rate is,
Yeah, it's not got the best.
this kind of reminds me of those example TV shows they did back in the late
It probably
20s
doesn't
where
help that this
was
is
that?
acting as my central network access point either. though.
Sure.
So,
You ever see that?
But
Herbert Hoover was the first president on television.
Motion's got great.
I don't know if it was a test or it was prime time. I have no idea. They didn't have a lot of content back then.
This guy.
It was pre-Netflix.
But yeah, Motion's got great extensibility stuff too. It's pretty fun.
It-
It was
yeah.
one of my first projects was I actually had it set up as sort of a security camera, but one of the things I ran into was that it didn't have enough light. So I had an Arduino with just a 5mm LED and just shoved it between one of the GPIO pins. And then a script that would tell the Arduino, hey, trigger your sequence. So it'd turn it on for
Yeah,
about 5
it's-
seconds and
Its
then back off.
interface ability is great. It is really
Yeah.
great.
And that was like one of the first scripts I wrote, so it wasn't like I was good at it by then. I'm still not great, but I'm a lot better than I was back then.
So is that just a white light one or an ion or?
Yeah, just white, like an ultra bright, like, hey, guess what? You're on camera.
What?
Oh, okay.
He is a Morkie, Maltese and Yorkshire Terrier mix.
I have them all.
AKA designer
So
dog.
he looks like a Maltese.
Yeah. Is anybody using CRISPR yet for breeding dogs?
Well, give them time to get all the tools. They don't know the tools.
I'm looking for, I wonder if they could have a phosphorescent dog.
They're already talking about getting rid of streetlights and having trees glow, so.
Yeah, I thought about it a long time ago. I thought that this
Of course,
seed
eventually they'll
company
get
that's
wild
not,
and all glow.
the seed company that's not mentioned here could actually have, like, you do precision planting of corn that would glow for arrows for remote landing fields around the state.
Spent so much time deciding.
Put that in the suggestion box at work. It'd work. It'd be pretty neat, wouldn't it?
That would actually be quite epic. It's like, yeah, due to urbanization and reduced farmland and all that, we're now doing multi-purpose. We got the farms built right into the airport as part of the landing assembly, the guidance systems.
Corn does have the unique ability to move out of the way if planes miss the runway.
Right.
See, it's.
Soft landing.
Sounds like a little bit of jet fuel.
Actually, that
perhaps.
plane that crashed in.
Yeah, exactly. And then if,
That plane that crashed in the Ural Mountains,
So
or
now
Ural,
this
or whatever,
is
Russia
running
was in that one.
with Pi Zero.
Not all, that's an all self-server. Main camera, everything, all of them.
okay, so that IP address, that .230 or whatever it is, what device is that? Okay, so that's your phone?
No, that's the DHCP that Zero got from my phone.
Okay, so it's of that device,
230
got
is
it.
that.
I wasn't sure if we were looking at
Yep.
this Pi, talking to that
Nope.
one or not. Okay, so
We're
we're
just
looking
that one
directly at that one.
right now.
Got it.
So out of the box, it's using the built-in camera. It's also actually, you can barely see, there's red, which indicates
Yep.
that it detected motion. So this is direct.
Does it detect motion both towards you and away, Ken?
It detects number of pixels.
Number of
Motion in
change
general.
pixels.
Because that's the way they do with Doppler
It also
radar, they have
has-
different colors depending if you're going away.
It doesn't distinguish between red and blue shift.
There
Sorry.
is an option in motion.
It
to
does
target-
have a
target
brightness
the
change
box.
flag to
Of
whether
where-
or not you want
Yes.
to sudden change in brightness.
I was
to-
thinking that would make that'd be a
There's
lot.
a lot of
you know,
settings in
if
here.
you're
We'll
moving
turn right side.
towards you or away from you.
Well, but not just auto brightness,
Although
but
You can change the
camera
rotation
anyway,
too.
for purposes.
From
So,
software.
so if you mounted it sideways, you
Yeah.
can change the rotation in the UI.
well, my favorite feature wasn't just the auto brightness, but if say the frame changes brightness, you can tell it whether that counts as motion or not.
Actually, okay, so 230 is
Yeah, you
there.
can tell it.
So I'm gonna go back to the Raspberry Pi 4. I'm gonna add a new camera. I'm gonna try and.
So you could have somebody turn on and off the light and not have it detect as motion if that's how you want it.
This is our Motion Eye camera because it's running the OS that it knows about. I think I can do it. So HTTP or.
Might be RTMP 230, right?
There it is,
How do you know?
because it detected the camera.
Oh,
Filled that in
okay.
automatically. When it connects, it fills in the camera.
And it does it on tab, basically?
Yeah, on tab.
Nice.
So if you were
So
adding,
now you have two
Oh,
cameras.
beautiful.
so if that camera, just
So
say it
this
was like this one.
is the server, and it's connecting to this camera and that camera, and if it had a native camera, it would show that one too.
So the question
Nice.
is, if you have two cameras plugged into that and you just added it by IP address, that little drop-down box would
There
have
would be
either option.
Multiple, yeah.
Now, if you
Which the
wanted,
Zero won't support, but if you had another one of these, maybe,
Yeah.
you could put a couple cameras on this.
now, in Motion iOS, does it do recording and stuff too?
Yeah.
So you could use it in place of ZoneMinder if all your cameras are motion things. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Because ZoneMinder's a pain in the butt.
Or
Yeah.
just all your cameras are raw
We're
JPEG.
doing our picture because I'm gonna turn the lights off, but,
Oh, it's significantly better than the other.
yeah, this camera's pretty good.
Just a little up there.
There we
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
There we go.
Is there a Blair Witch mode?
But, let's hope not. One
Yes.
thing that's,
We shouldn't have meddled.
It's called Throw It in the River.
Hey, you've got camera one and camera one.
camera one and camera one, so which camera, okay, so the camera one here is probably the first one I added, but you can change.
Because both servers, it's their first camera.
So I'll do that.
You could have camera 1 and camera 8.
Yeah.
You're a programmer. You should be better at naming things.
It's camera 0 then.
Exactly. Hey, buy 0 camera, 01. That's close enough.
Camera null.
Camera null and camera NAN.
Camera drop tables.
Okay. So,
I wouldn't be surprised if this is SQL injectable.
it probably is.
Let's test it.
The question is how many cameras can it take at once?
Well, I'm sure there's a fairly low limit to that. The Pi 4 probably can do a lot more, but,
What is the memory spec and CPU spec of that Pi exactly?
this is the 4 gig model,
And what kind of,
whatever the Pi 4 has.
1.8.
Favorite smartphone?
It's the latest.
Or do we know?
It's an ARM chip. Is someone at the door?
The one at the
I
window.
hear tapping.
Yeah, there probably is somebody wanting in.
Probably Dawn.
Probably down.
The doors.
Yeah, that'd be a Dawn thing.
The doors are.
Be dawn of a new era.
You didn't try pen testing the door.
You just open the door.
So,
It's like the Far Side talented and gifted.
it is on Katie.
So most of these options you see in the sidebar are
You've got the camera chair.
the options that are built into Motion. There are some things that are just general, like. you know,
We've got your back on with the
maybe
camera.
All that stuff. But things like,
Oh.
Actually, this isn't showing quite as much because it doesn't have a native camera. It has this. Let's go over here.
Thank you.
This should show a lot more. Yeah, this shows a lot more. So, I mean, some of these things are system settings. Yeah, it's kind of a request and order.
And so some of that's a motion thing. Like
Yeah.
even if you have a good computer, it's like, nah, 3 frames a second's good.
Again, the underlying system is Motion, so it's
Yeah.
stuck to the limits of what that software supports. So we're connected directly to the Zero, and we're trying to look at the UI here. It does have some services here that you can turn on and off.
They're probably not gonna be performant.
Expert settings, not on the Zero anyway. A little
No,
bit better on a Pi before.
What kind of GPU do you have in that thing?
You got one
ARM.
files.
The same one that's in all of the Raspberry Pis for the past 6 years.
Look up Raspberry Pi and
Pretty much.
answer your own question. It's
you
beyond the
can
scope
up
of
the
this
resolution.
So you can actually share out to network shares, or
Yay.
you can mount a network share to which it will throw all of its videos or still pictures or whatever.
Does it say there directly?
Yes.
Or, okay. All right. I'm curious as to this. Yeah, it's kind of nice,
Yeah,
but
did I move
having it run as
something?
a server, I mean, you've got an SD card as your primary source
Okay,
of storage
so-
or something. That should be, you know.
And
So at
Pizio
home,
are
I have a
both
couple
spun
of these
up
set up, and I have them
as
going to
a
a
motion
like a Drobo.
with remote ports
network
open.
Drobo.
What's this extra
Direct
motion?
style Raspberry Pi
How
is a
many
server
primary has
that's talking
extra
to those
motion
two
options?
devices
What are we
with their
talking about
cameras.
there?
I would say things that,
So
since the
video
back end
rotation?
is motion, that other things that you could normally write in a
And
content
then you
file,
can do a
just
clone
slap them
spot.
right there instead.
Yeah, extra motion options.
It's a what?
You can, whatever the
Yeah,
command
pretty
line
much.
options to motion are, you could throw in
Sucks
there.
more and is easier to
Okay.
use.
Anything that's not
To
in the
catch all the
UI,
command line is what
you
it
could
is.
add in there. So if it's not in the UI, you could add some extra special options. There you go. Rotate it.
There's a reason I use ZoneMinder instead of motion. There's also a reason I hate
Well, you have the
ZoneMinder more
rotation.
than motion.
That way? Is that enough?
You what?
Did I need 270? I probably did that.
Did I miss something? Is this MJPEG?
Yeah, it is.
270. It's really
You can't
Well,
do arbitrary?
just rotating. the whole-
No, not with video.
It's always gonna be the last option.
I've done it with
Well, if you
video,
keep trying
not this
after
software,
that,
but
Then
It also
you might have a problem.
CPU would need a lot of crank horsepower
There
for
you go.
arbitrary rotations.
So if
you were just
uh,
talking about the GPU, let it do that.
Ken, if you hit the
The Pi 4
automatic brightness-
Now
has
we're
another
right
HDMI you're not using.
So yeah, you can, I mean, all these settings are things that you
Maybe
would
you could
set
do it, I would be
inside the motion
surprised.
comp file. A lot of these are.
I want to do 73.9 degree rotation.
Too bad.
Maybe that's the next version.
That's some
Right
extra
click,
options.
inspect element, add a thing.
Text overlay is another function of motion.
Some timestamp would be a good
That's in
idea.
there. Yeah, you can put, well, you can see out of the box it has camera name and
Can you
timestamp.
boost the scale so we can read it?
He's got this god awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes up to
Old
10 point.
archaic font for.
No, hit that scale option down below it to make the scale on the picture.
The slider he's talking about, the AKA font size.
Yeah, that one, yeah. So everything pretty much goes to the command and then there's an update side form a motion.
It's updating the motion.conf file and restarting the motion service.
Oh, that makes sense.
So it's restarting.
There you go.
It's restarting the service is what you're saying, okay.
I mean, this is just a web GUI front end to the
I was
motion.conf.
just thinking curious what kind of
And
font
some
they
of the
have there.
system files too. So like your networking is probably updating the WPA supplement file.
That makes sense.
You know, the Samba comp file is being manipulated by the Samba.
It's like
Last
Webman.
year,
Take care
Yeah.
of hardware devices.
And just
for
to
you
secure.
automatically.
Right?
And they can-
Probably more so, 'cause nobody knows how to hack
Video
this one yet.
streaming, so you can do some quality stuff here. And again, most of this stuff is just plugging right into the motion.com file.
Stream, wait,
These are kind of interesting because you can
that's a percent.
grab URLs for, like, if you wanted to have a script that grabbed periodic snapshots. You could point that script at this URL.
This
and
versus
you would
Webman.
grab a snapshot of that moment in time. So you could have like a Python script running on a completely different server that would connect to this every minute, grab a picture, and upload it. That's what my LibreCam does. Interestingly enough.
When you get really fancy, you could do machine learning, so it can do something else.
Still images, movies, you know. These are the things, so if you set up a file share as the storage, it'll drop these under that.
H.264.
Yep, H.264.
So it actually is.
There is an option.
It's standard video. So it must be
All kinds
like,
of options there.
Although it's entirely possible that it's
What's the
using
OMX
something
of-
like,
is OMX gonna be uncompressed, do you think?
I
No,
think OMX has to do with the graphics card.
yes, OMX is the framework to
For
go
Pis?
talk to the Pi GPU and use the Pi GPU for
Nice.
acceleration
Because
for
there's an OMX
H.264.
player,
Okay.
that's kind of like M player, but
yeah,
for
but
OMX.
I'm
So
guessing
I'm
that
assuming
most
the
of
one
these are
above
not
that is
native to
software
motion, but
only.
are rather using FFmpeg or something like that to.
Yeah, it's taken in as a.
Cross the video.
Yeah, it's getting it from the motion software.
that's-
but then-
Oh, that's
That's what I was kind of
interesting.
wondering is that.
There's an
somebody figured out
SWF
that
that's
stuff
not
of it,
flash.
Actually converting it with hardware GPU. Because
Otherwise,
otherwise, I don't want.
yeah,
them
that's
to-
kind of interesting,
into
isn't it?
JPEG cameras, dude. They take up so
Is it-
much.
You think
network
they're using
bandwidth, it's
WebM, do you think, or
ridiculous.
something like that for SWF?
There's also no guarantee that
Motion
the
detection
Pi Zero
settings,
will
all
be
here.
performant enough to do
Even
transcode.
light switch
Yeah.
detection
Yeah.
thresholds.
Which is really why that just ruled that out for me completely. It's like, I can't, it's taking too many resources to make something.
Notifications, I haven't played with these.
Oh,
too much.
SWF is
You know,
Adobe
if there's
Flash.
motion detection, it would be-
Yeah,
I didn't
thought so,
realize
but-
it stood for small web format. I thought it stood for shockwave.
Again, most of this
No, I
is
thought-
Flash.
Yeah.
Almost all of this.
It's a regressive.
It's really just a front.
Oh, okay.
Go back to it.
Yeah, go back. and
That's what I
Except
used
for, like,
just
some of these
as a
things at the
format
top.
long ago.
So
It's
So
native
it's the
to
same
most
spec
browsers,
and
as long as
standard and all
using
that. It's
motion.
just different.
Like SWF,
Okay.
Yeah. That's.
So yeah,
that's why I
but
use
this
it.
one
Yeah, I
doesn't
know.
have as many
I know.
options because
Realize
it's
they have
getting
that.
from motion.
Well, because there is
So it
another
doesn't have
type
as
of
many
SWF
options
file
to
that's
figure
more
it out.
related to
Windows, I mean,
But if you go over here,
XP,
XP.
brilliant.
you can actually control the other camera from the Pi 4. So you can actually,
So how many
right
cameras?
now, this is the Pi 4 web interface. And I'm controlling this camera here from the Pi 4.
And how many cameras can you scale up to?
How much RAM you got?
Software limitations is however many you can throw in there. It's,
Yeah.
it's all hardware.
You're gonna hit hardware way before you hit software.
I mean, this isn't gonna be hugely scalable, but it's
Well,
neat for
it's-
like a
Not just for Pis, is it?
2, 4,
No, you
6.
can run it
Well, I guess I don't know.
A
Can we
potato
go
if you
look at
want
that?
to.
How much
I thought
CPU
Motion
and
iOS was
RAM it's
a
using right
Pi
now?
distro.
Is it a Pi only distro?
It's for a lot of single
Because you
board
sign in there, there's no SSH
computers.
available right away.
I could have tried SSH. I don't know.
I don't know enough because it says enable SSH right there.
Yeah.
So
You have a
it's already
tunnel.
on. But the question is, what is the password?
Probably admin.
Admin.
Yeah, probably.
What?
Corresponds to your board. So I mean, you probably could
Pretty
put it in
responsive on
something else,
that,
but it looks like it's designed for ARM
Let's
Jitsi,
try it.
basically.
I'm really
Which-
surprised by that. The UI is
Yeah.
nice.
The UI is very nice.
Any problems in just
What was it?
130, I thought.
230 or 1?
230.
143 for the,
143, so
Wow, I was talking about a different device.
the-
that was
that
two.
one's the 230.
.1. Oh,
There you go. If you don't set a password,
Nothing.
then you use admin and you get root. So, yeah,
Cybersecurity
you don't want to put
101.
this on the internet.
Enabled by default.
No,
Yes.
you want to put it on
And
the internet,
admin was the
just get
username.
someone else's
And SSH
connection.
into it gives you root.
So.
Outside of somebody
there's-
else's DMZ,
Their
right?
sales line can be if they're just as good as the other real camera companies.
Yeah, pretty much.
Chinese
I
one.
like it.
Okay.
And
I
just
mean,
as
it's like
secure.
breaking the sweat.
Yeah, it's not
Shenzhen
anything.
special.
I'm thinking it's offloading most of the work to the GPU.
Oh.
Both on the incoming.
I got the
stream
one
and
with the
on
little heat
transcoding.
sinks and the little fan too, to keep it cool. So there's a fan at the top. of the
So where do you
case.
order that from, Ken? Amazon?
Kinekit,
Okay.
probably Amazon, I think.
What's it called? Etiquette?
Kina.
Canada.
Look at the logo on the side of the
Well,
box.
we couldn't read in the dark.
Go turn the
Put
light
your,
on.
put your glasses back on.
No, it's easier for me to read without my glasses on.
That's a scary thought.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Sounds like the
I'm still on your
optometrist might
side,
need some
that's
help.
what it is, so.
Just change your configuration file, turn on night vision.
Yes.
So the zero
Every time I restart
is breaking a
services, it
little
causes
more of a
issues.
sweat.
That is really cool.
Yeah, about 40%.
But then the zero only has one.
Oh, you're in the zero?
Yeah, that's the zero.
Yeah, it's gonna be working harder.
It's working a lot harder.
So I am curious,
Well, it's processing slower as well, so.
Yeah.
Really, is that a question?
It's only got a single processor.
Is it
It's only doing
working?
one thing.
Is it working any harder? Is it doing the same exact task? It's just less processors, but it's a higher percentage?
It's got less to do, right? Yeah.
I'm curious what
Huh.
they're going to do with the impending Python 2 Ageddon that's coming at the end of the year.
Yeah, so from the Pi 4, any camera that you've connected that's also running Motion iOS, you can manipulate the config for. So you don't have to have every single camera
Just use the.
go into each camera to change
I
the
like
settings.
the
You can actually just change it from here.
It's good.
So if I change the, for
Slower,
example, you
slower.
asked about the file storage, if I change the file storage here, it's changing it on that device, and that device is sending its file storage directly to the file share. It's not passing through this as an intermediate.
Yeah.
So if I change it here, it's changing it on that device. So
That's
just like here,
Two set remove,
if I change that,
point it
and
there.
it'll change the rotation of just that camera, because I've got Pi 0 cam. selected.
Hashtag obsolete.
So this really is acting kind of like a zone minder, a kind of a miniature zone minder type server. But you don't have to have a camera on this. You can just have a bunch of those connecting to this and have this be the main hub.
Yeah, I didn't realize, I thought it was only a client, like you had to have a camera plugged into it, and then it was only to be sent to other servers. I didn't realize that its built-in server had the capability of taking other clients.
I thought it was pretty simple.
Now, can it
It's like-
do standard RTMP? Or does it only talk to other motion stuff?
Well,
You mean RTP?
RTMP.
RTMP, RTSP,
okay, so when you add,
RTP, whatever,
so when
pick
you
your
add a new
acronym.
camera, you got several options here. There's the local camera,
Mhm.
okay, so it's looking for one
Yep.
connected directly.
USB basically,
Local
network camera,
which is the
right,
Pi camera. Network camera, which is super generic.
which would be your RTMP style,
Yeah.
okay,
The
cool.
extra.
It says right here.
Yeah, RTSP, yep, okay.
RTSP, MJPEG, JPEG.
Oh, but this is incoming. Yes,
Yeah.
motion is always accepted incoming. Well, not always.
Yeah, no, I
Back in
don't,
the day, it
that's,
wasn't great at it, but it did it. So that must have gotten, must have gotten better at it. Back
So that's
there,
the network camera
including
Mhm.
settings, capabilities. Then remote motion eye, of course, is like one that's actually running the same OS. And then just simple MJPEG,
yeah, cause a lot of,
the really brain big cameras.
a lot of network cameras too will support just a JPEG frame pull.
Yeah.
Which motion's always been okay at.
So there's not a lot of options here, but if you stick with the motion eye,
Yeah,
that's really the best way to go. Because even like here,
What if you wanna buy real cameras?
this is just running motion. And you don't have as many options Are you connected to it as far as config?
I have a Pi 3 sitting down, it's not doing anything, and a new camera that's 1080p and 25 frames per second, so I'm gonna be trying.
Play with it.
Well, and if anyone wants a Zone Minder talk, I'm accepting Axis network camera donations that are 1080p to
I'll bring in a camera so you can
see if
try it.
I have a couple like cheap Chinese things that will work for a while and then not. And I'm not sure if it's because they're cheap Chinese.
I have a
It's
D-Link
or because
camera
it's
not running motion.
that's probably 6-7 years old.
The laptop here is-
Yeah, the ones that I have are
So
sort
it's
of on
made
par
all
with that.
settings.
I'd be real curious
It's running
though to get
motion,
like
so it should have more
some
settings,
pro
but
grade
They're not talking at that
Yeah.
level.
like NVR designed for NVR cameras and see if Zone Minder
I
handles it
got a
better.
unified camera finally from Ubiquiti, and it seems to work out pretty slick. I mean, upgrading from my old 7-year-old D-Link 720p camera, it's like, oh my god, this is awesome.
So that's pretty much all I had right there.
Cool. You answered lots of questions that you probably were not prepared for.
No, like I said, all I've done pretty much is just set these up and
Yep.
play with them a little bit, but I haven't dug into all the techie stuff.
I went to a break today.
But it's kind of fun. I've got a few cameras around the house.
I'm pleasantly
Some of them are
surprised.
recording, some of them are not.
Right. Pleasantly surprised by the performance, I guess, but it's still
It's
only
not-
like
yeah.
1-2 frames per second right now. It's like,
It's only a couple of frames. It's,
I mean, when he looks at it, it's enough to see his face.
but I mean, I could run this in a VM.
security camera, kind of.
I could run this in a VM though too, and just run on a server with 24 cores. You know, I'd be interested to see how this performs compared to
Scale.
You'd
other
rather,
things.
well, you'd want to run 24 instances of it that are all single core. It might work a little bit better that way, actually.
One for each camera.
How high
Exactly.
did the processor usage get on that if you bump the frame rate up?
What's the IP address?
Yeah.
Let's
you
go
can
find
log in
out.
from 30 years old. There's no password set. As soon as you set this admin password, it would be set to that, of course.
192.168.43.230, right?
237.
Yeah, that's it.
This is 143.
230 is the,
Yeah, isn't that what we were asking about?
Either one. I mean,
So there's top. CPU average is 1,
and do you want to
Basically.
play with the settings on it then?
so it's kind of high
Can
for
you
just
change the
doing nothing.
See
But
who
frame
can,
size on this one?
let's check.
yeah, you can make it higher.
Yeah, but why is it 1 if the highest ones aren't getting above 30?
just go straight for 1080. Usually
Why not?
with Pi's, I go for 1280.
Because there's only a single core.
What you go?
I would try like 10 frames per second with that.
There you go.
Yeah, the highest one's 30. The next highest one is 13.
That's what they-
Yeah,
the
44 and
nail
30. Yeah,
drivers,
so
I
I
tried to
mean,
get
and then you add up all these 5s and 1s
264
and there you are.
But it just was not.
And now your load average of the past minute is 0.63. So I mean,
Yeah, it's,
that's fine. So, or was it?
Yeah, 10 frames per second, but you see the time
Hitting it
changing every 2
on the
seconds.
website is bringing it up.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true.
Well, they
Plus, we're
also-
SSH'd in watching top, so I mean,
Well,
there's
that's-
some of your
What does top say now? Because I just.
1.31. Give it a couple seconds and we'll see. 1.36.
Because it should be struggling now.
What's the percentage of usage?
Oh, how- how-
1.65. 92%.
Okay.
80%. We went down a bit. Our load average went up to 1.7, 1.96. We're almost at a 2.0 load average.
5 frames per second.
Oh, you pulled up the red.
This is going up like my GPA.
I'm going
Oh, wait.
So you leave it at 10, okay. We'll see how that goes.
What if I do
Alright, how about now?
while true loop on this?
It's actually responding better now.
Yeah, that's.
I killed half the
There
other
is a little
processor.
bit of lag.
Like if you do
I
5.
need to have them.
Oh,
Because then you can see the, you do.
Yeah, why do they have selected light switching them
I'm
on?
just thinking of pulling the bolts. Just leave it.
That's what I used to do. Come at night.
That's no fun. BB guns, man. Just hit the power cable. They won't notice that the light's broken that way.
Make sure you stand underneath it.
No.
Isn't that Mercury Vapor?
No, that's why.
Is this like a
First of
rave
all, I'm
party?
pretty sure
I
these are LEDs. First of all, I'm pretty sure these are LEDs, so hitting the bulb would only break a couple of
So
the
yeah, it's a little
elements.
laggy.
Yeah,
It's a
probably
little
would
slow.
probably make a mess.
Which is why you want to aim for the power cord.
So, I mean, for real world use, you probably want to do low res and fairly low frame rate. Just,
Oh, yeah.
You know, it wouldn't be an issue if they just had a brighter projector.
this was the brightest one.
What was it?
The lights are pretty bright. The lights are pretty bright.
Is it seen a laser projector?
Yeah, how much it was?
I mean, they're expensive. This is a corporation.
This was the brightest one we could find in the price range we were looking for.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
It's a
so,
very nice screen.
Yeah, we had something like 80,000 lumens one time for a rental. It was
Yeah.
epic. We accidentally projected on black, and we're like, that actually looks really cool. Let's do it next time too.
and it is.
Is it a rental or something?
Yeah, it was a rental.
How much they paying for the rent?
I don't know, not nearly as much as the projectors. that's for sure.
2002, 2000.
But there is
About
something
3
about
seconds away.
projecting on something that is
Yeah.
normally designed
I
to
guess you're going
absorb
through
as
the
much
Wi-Fi
light
on
as
your
possible
phone
and be the
here.
backdrop at a theater.
Yeah.
You're projecting.
There's that too.
But is it going that
It would
way?
be pretty
Since you're all on the same
interesting to see
subnet, does it have to route? There's no routing being done on your phone. And since it's a broadcast network like that, since it's Wi-Fi, it's going straight from one device to the other. But it's still Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
It's not going from one device
necessarily.
to another right now.
It's not broadcast so far as logical, but the way that Wi-Fi works, all devices are able to hear it. It doesn't have to pass through the main router or the main Wi-Fi access point to be rebroadcast.
Are you saying
It doesn't
you
have
configure
to
it as
be.
as a point to point?
No. That's
once they've
just,
associated.
it's just
you talk
Wi-Fi.
to
They
the
don't
direct.
have to, yeah, they don't have,
Trying to
you don't have to have a
understand what
switch.
So there's no.
See, you don't have to have a switch.
The only time it needs to
Because
go
it's
through
Wi-Fi.
here is if it needs to go somewhere.
Unless you have
outside.
client isolation enabled, you can have two clients talk directly to each other.
Yeah, that's-
But there's no guarantee that that's happening.
Sure.
I'm trying to understand what he was saying. and you were talking.
I was just explaining it differently.
So Ken, do you have any of your cameras waterproofed and outdoors?
No. So I was mentioning earlier, I got one of those little foam clamps that goes onto a tripod. So it's just basically it's made for one of
Because
these
those have the
that you
screw
can
on the
screw
bottom.
down. That does not.
They don't.
What in the world is
I
that?
thought one of the cases had a camera.
There might be a different case that
Peter
does,
Gabriel
but
one.
that case does not. That's the only type of case I have.
Oh.
So I got these things that it's just like a little clamp,
Mhm.
but then it has a little L bracket
Not an
that
everyday
goes to a
thing.
tripod. So I have one of those clamped into one of those
That works.
on a tripod, pointing out the back window of my house to the backyard.
Nice.
So I can
Just
keep an eye
don't
on,
let
like, the
the
weather.
sun go directly to
I killed the camera that way, yes. So I had one, actually it was the same Pi, but a different camera module because I had to replace it. I had it in the bedroom window facing outdoor towards the street. And a couple of sunrises, it burned the camera out. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
That's awesome.
So the camera module will connect, but it shows you just like a blank gray screen.
It's epic.
It totally works, it just doesn't show you an image.
Does it,
it shows what it's supposed to.
I'm curious, if you shine a flashlight on it, take the flashlight away and whatnot, does it change brightness at all?
There's
Like, is there
settings.
any detection that,
In box?
No.
I'd be curious to know if you could use it like as a, well, no, but I'd be
This-
curious,
But no, the blind one.
the blind
Oh,
one.
blind one. No, I
I'd be
tried
curious to know if, like, it has any level of response at all, or if it's.
that. It's pretty much burned out.
There's still
Yes,
some
but
things that
you
you can
said
do, like
pretty
color
much. You
detection,
didn't say
maybe, if it's
entirely.
bright color. Sunlight
I wanna find
detection,
those
I hate
3
to say
pixels
it.
that-
Yeah.
there you go.
Still good.
Sunlight detection,
And-
that's.
There's a laser scope on the lens, you know, you detect that maybe. That's about it.
Ken,
Oh, you mean like a Terminator when he,
at least it's
you mean like
not
a
as
Terminator
bad
when he
as,
goes and
during the
plays around that
eclipse.
laser sight?
There were a bunch of like rented lenses that people didn't put filters in front of, they put filters behind.
I
And they
mean,
ended up melting the stages inside the
nice.
lenses.
I mean, I thought it was funny
Nice.
what our commander in chief did. Like, remember, don't look at it, huh?
Well, look at what?
Look at that thing? You mean that? But yeah, this is a fun little project. I mean, this guy's maintaining it too. So, and you can see by the release schedule here,
Yeah, I think that's always the most important thing.
he's really actively developing it. And like I said, Pi 4 didn't come in until this last one. And all the ones I have at home are not Pi 4s. I've got a 3D plus and a 2 and a couple of zeros. That's one.
I did notice he had a copyright on the interface page itself. I'm curious.
Maybe just the logo.
Yeah,
That'd be a trademark, not cut. Okay, normally, I mean, he could be putting a copyright on something that would be a trademark.
Save himself.
You do.
Someone this week.
He's
Yeah.
got all the different XP files
Maybe he's planning using it for a book.
and source code. You want to do that?
Well, I mean, you could get like a
Tinker board,
O'Reilly thing and showing like a multifaceted eye of a fly.
Pi 1 and 0 are both the same Pi.
you can do
Line
uploads to
board,
Google
Orange
Photos.
Pi 0,
Well, how quickly that would
Odroid.
use up your cloud space.
NanoPi.
It wouldn't if you were
Yeah.
doing
And I
photos.
suppose you can probably
They have unlimited
grab
photo
one of the
space.
emulators for one of these and run it as a VM too.
Wonder how they pull that one
like you
off.
mentioned.
I guess our data hoards beyond all recognition.
That would be.
Machine learning training.
to run.
Yeah, I'm sure that's-
That would be
I want to see how it goes.
Yeah, you can
with an
upload.
Actual decent.
Any
Yeah.
number of photos.
I mean, that would follow,
So
I mean, if that
yes.
worked, it would
You think
probably
it's for
be
the
practical
Terminator or
for
something maybe?
using that as the central server without a camera.
Why don't you put a picture of
So
Sarah
it's a
Khan up
Raspberry
there?
Pi completely out of the equation. It's hardware specs. Just
The hardware does limit it. The 4 is pretty compelling, but it's still not gonna be.
Yeah.
I mean, you get more than a half dozen cameras on this thing,
It's-
it's really gonna be.
At what level
Sorry.
at what level am I at? Not most people are gonna be able to have that many IP cameras in their house to be able to manage all of them. So
Yeah,
this is a good thing for just normal people.
if you're just messing around, it's pretty fun to play.
If you have more than 0 cameras, I don't know that you qualify as normal person.
There's
That's,
this
I mean, no. That's not, anymore that's not true. Considering,
Yeah, I would have to argue that.
In my frame of reference, I am normal.
In some places,
The rest of you all are
every business
weirdos.
is required to have a video camera system.
and with the consumerized
I
everything,
wasn't mentioning
with
this.
Arlo,
but I
with
would say right
Nest.
now for one industry, people that have beach
Let me
shops
go
out in
there.
Colorado are required by law to have cameras.
And the
Oh, it's
battery.
not
in
the
my- like I said,
IEA,
I used, I don't have.
or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean,
IAEA, I mean,
Plug in.
You know what that is?
Year.
Oh, exactly.
The
So
International
I have to use
Energy.
the battery. And I-
Atomic Energy
Yeah.
Administration. So they have like camera feeds in France in the reactors and stuff so that they can monitor the movement of.
I don't think that
Well, the
classifies
cameras
as
on
normal
this.
people.
Yeah, I mean.
No, that would be at
They have
least
a health
pro,
law.
yeah,
It's always been that.
that would be at least
But as far as,
prosumer.
yeah, sending stuff to the recording part.
Unbelievable,
That's only
yeah.
in motion. And then you got the
It's like
live stream
some
for it, so you can
photonic
actually just
something.
at work, call it up on your VPN.
Almost
and-
like,
Almost live stream. Your laggy live stream.
genuine like.
But this is, there's no mic. This
If
is
you're
for
monitoring
audio
the front
or
door,
no audio.
No audio.
No, there's no.
So basically, you could feature minds.
I think, I don't think Motion has the capability for
It's a
audio.
mime body cam. You just strap it to the front of the mime right here, and then they can watch their fellow mimes.
Like the Edward.
Yeah,
so
they did
falls
a
on
labyrinth.
mine.
They did a labyrinth.
Yeah,
They did a labyrinth with the kind of a mind field.
RSCILUG is the voucher. All caps are RSCILUG, all lowercase.
Well,
penguin.
I mean, we've hit that time night where
Don't
we
we
can
all?
either,
I don't have
Talking-
anything else.
Yeah. Don, did you have news here as soon as we drop our feed here?
Mathematics stuff.